Going over to the Cultural Proud podcast, you have Matt Walsh going viral on his statements regarding divorce rates when the wife earns more than the husband. Now, before we get to his statement, I thought we'd ask AI, what are the divorce rates, and is there really an increase when the wife earns more? Spoiler alert, there is. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Grok, the AI from X, or Elon's Twitter, and I asked them, hey, divorce rates when the wife earns more than the husband. Now, they say, quote, divorce rates in the U.S. for marriages when the wife earns more than the husband are slightly higher than in marriages where the husband is the primary earner. Studies from the 2010s, such as one by the American Sociological Association, found that couples where the wife earns more have a divorce rate risk about 15 to 20% higher over the first few years compared to couples where the husband earns more. However, recent data does suggest that the gap is shrinking as the social norms evolve. Exact figures still vary, but the increased risk attributed to traditional gender role expectations and financial dynamics may be decreasing. So it's actually just a little disappointing you don't have more recent statistics to go off of. So we got the 2010, but yeah, 15 to 20% higher, which that's not great. And spoiler, divorces are, 70% initiated by the woman, at least in the United States. Obviously, that varies across the globe. Now, going to Matt Walsh specifically, he's actually responding to someone who said, it's great when the woman earns or when the wife earns more than the husband. This is brought to us thanks to Jeremiah Johnson. So again, Matt's going to respond to this. Jeremiah says, quote, cannot emphasize enough to young men out there how much it rocks to have a woman or wife who makes more money than you. Absolutely rules. 10 out of 10 would marry again. Now that got 2.3 million views and 5.3 thousand likes. Now Jeremiah also said, quote, the online right has found their mortal enemy, a straight white man from the South who married a high school sweetheart and runs his small business. Gained 1.1 thousand likes. Margot says, behind every great podcast or academic is a spouse with a real job, getting 612 likes. So most people, again, did respond positive to him. Let's see here. A couple more statements by Grok. Now going to Matt. Matt says, quote, oh yeah, let me highlight it on the screen and make it a little bit easier. Matt says, oh yeah, it rocks so much that your marriage is 50% more likely to end in divorce if your wife earns more than you, unquote. Now, again, according to Grok, the AI tool, it's about 15 to 20%. Definitely not great, but not 50%. Unfortunately, I don't see Matt linking any statistics to his statement. I'll continue his statement though. He says, it rocks so much that both wives and husbands consistently report being less satisfied in their marriage when the wife earns more. Yeah, it absolutely rocks for a man to be in a situation where his wife is a better provider than he is. Totally inverting a system that has worked across all of human civilization since the dawn of humanity is great. Sending the message that your wife, that you can't bring anything to the family that she doesn't already bring in greater supply is amazing. Great advice. Thanks for the feedback, unquote. And that got 1.7 million views and 19,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. And again, Matt Walsh, if you don't know, very famous, probably one of the top 3 famous conservative podcasters. I think he's been married for like 15 years, had 6 kids, and I actually do not know his wife's profession. I believe she's full-time stay-at-home mom. So again, for his household, I think he far out earns her because again, he's very famous and he's probably making millions a year. He's famously employed by the Daily Wire. Best documentary he's made, or most recognized one, is What is a Woman? That brought that company to the next level. Now, going to the major comment section, Matt Walsh continued saying, quote, unless you're severely sick or disabled or temporary out of work and aggressively looking for new employment, you should simply not be financially dependent on your wife. This should be just about as least controversial advice I'd ever given a man. Gained 4.7 thousand likes. Wow, he got 196 responses. I'll check those out before we go to the main comment section. Christy May says, is emasculating whether the acknowledged is not. One lazy, unmotivated man are okay with their wife outlearning. Only lazy, unmotivated men are okay with their wife out-earning them, getting 65 likes. We also have Wrath, saying, my wife's income and benefits when we were in our first marriage provided the security I need to start my business, getting 18 likes. Cybertruck Dreamer says, and as my wife, you should not be financially dependent on the men either. There are some women who are stuck in a family in mentality and physically abusive relationships due to the very reason, getting 47 likes. John Deacon says, quote, having your wife earn more does not necessarily equate to being dependent. Hard to match a wife's salary as a physician, but I'm doing fine myself, getting 47 likes. Going back to the main comment section, you have Harbor Town Lover saying, quote, I'd rather be destitute and living in a 1-basement dump of an apartment than live in a mansion with a wife who makes more than me. I'm not alone, getting 88 likes, which, And that is dedication. I used to call them sad single man or sad divorced dad apartments. And it is, culturally, heartbreaking how abusive the system is on men when, they have to pay for things like lifetime alimony. I mean, California, the rest of your life you're going to be paying for that. But I partially digress. Yeah, I don't think that man is alone in his assessment or his analysis. Now, again, as society norms are changing, I suspect that percentage of men will decrease. You also have Helen saying, quote, amazing how men will hold the benefit simultaneously, hold the belief simultaneously that women divorce to take half your assets and divorce rape you while while also saying that they're significantly more likely to divorce you and or more. Men like making more money so they can financially control and contribute nothing to the housework when they make the money. What they really want is a free servant who is grateful for the roof over their head. When women expect men to contribute more to raising children, housework, and since she is paying the bills, they're pretty unhappy. Maybe you should clean more and be grateful she's putting a roof over her head, and she wouldn't be more likely to leave. Men are just ungrateful and lazy, getting 271 likes and a contrarian statement. Curious if they got ratioed. No. Coast to Coast responded saying Marxism is false. Relationships are not about power and control. Women who earn more than their husbands tend to divorce their husbands for emotional reasons, and that's why you must avoid the situation as a man. Gained 32 likes. Marx says, quote, peak feminist brain rot. Women have always used the term provider as an excuse to live like squatters, while someone who else works to fund their lifestyle and take control of their survival. Men across the board still earn more than women and spend more time at work too, getting 75 likes, which, yeah, people wonder why men get paid more than women. They get paid more than women because they work more hours than them and they choose different professions. The whole, obviously, pay discrepancy is a myth, or selectively using data to make your point, or also known as manipulating the data to make your point. Going back to the comment section, you have Pearl Davis said, on the bright side, he can put her in child support and alimony if it goes south. Or I got 245 likes, which I think California, you pay alimony for life, which is insane. Cantel Bex, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what it looks like, says, what do you do when your woman earns more money than 97% of the population? Her chance of finding a man who earns more than her is nearly non-existent. What does that mean? She's just undateable? Serious question. 27 likes. I mean, we are seeing a trend, and they're kind of heartbreaking when you see all the street interviews. We have folks asking women why they're single and why men are single. A lot when they ask women why they're single, and again, not every time, but again, this is anecdotally me just seeing videos on the social media. A lot of the women that are more elderly or more mature and have a higher income rate, they note that they want to date a man that's earning more than them. That is a decreasing sample size. Now, I'm a horse thief, says, quote, nearly non-existent. She can either be single, as many do, because they tend not to get aroused by, well, not to get too adult here, but aroused by a beta man, or she could help find a man in that 3%, getting 4 likes. We also have, let's see here. Pacquiao the Gross says, men can pretend this is true, that they are okay being dependent on their wives, but that requires the man to reveal the humiliation of being the subordinate partner, or he must bottle up his own disappointment, anger, and oriented against others, getting 158 likes. Smart Ace says, quote, Matt Walsh or broski. I've not heard that term since the 1990s. Is that still popular? Perhaps. It's literally spelled B-R-O-S-K-I. Now he says, quote, broski. 82% of your cited stats fossilize faster than your worldview. Correlation is not causation, but fragile masculinity? That's peer-reviewed. Marital satisfaction tanks when fragile egos out-earn their critical thinking, getting 167 likes. Now, again, I don't know if Matt Walsh is right by the 50%. Again, I only asked Grok AI. That's not, it's not a definitive answer. And again, that study was from 2010. But Matt was saying, the data I got was 15 to 20%, which is still a pretty big increase. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other interesting contrarian statements. You have Lorenzo Maliando saying, quote, take note, you will rarely ever see a better example of masculine fragility than you do with Matt Walsh. He reeks of it, getting 60 likes. Pretty good. I was going to say, for once, I would say it's almost 50-50. Yeah, about 50 pro, 50% con statements responding to Matt Walsh. So getting some fun contrarian statements in here. Chris Kalous says, quote, you spend too much time telling the world why you're intimidated by a woman who does things and has success. I think we all know by now that it's it's a you issue, not historical or evolutionary argument. Getting 135 likes. Let's see. This got 542 likes. Jeez Louise. All caps. This person's really, really proud of their statement. Jeremiah Johnson, or their cap locks is just broken on the keyboard. He says, quote, I want a girl with the right allocations, who's fast and thorough, as sharp as a tack. She's playing with her jewelry. She's putting up her hair. She's touring the facility and picking up the slack. I don't know if this is a rap or a popular culture song, but it's a statement that got 542 likes. Scapio says, quote, if you marry the right woman, it doesn't matter how much money either of you make. In fact, if you marry the right woman, you don't have to worry about any of this shit because the woman's going to be on your side through thick and thin. It's a partnership, not a providership. Unquote, getting 118 likes. Which, yeah, I mean, we'll do one more. Philosophical cat. That's a picture of a gal, so we'll say it's alleged philosophical cat. Says, quote, you know that not all men deal with this kind of insecurity, right? A lot of them do, but not at all, or not all. If he says he likes that his wife earns well, who are you to tell him wrong to feel this way? Getting 171 likes. Which, again, I think the main concern is, will the wife initiate divorce? Because that is overwhelmingly initiated by women in the United States. And a lot of people are saying this is, one of the reasons they do so. But again, this is one of the most viral statements that Matt Walsh has had in the past 30 days. Unfortunately, was the infographic there? Let's see. Mom, dad. Kind of just showing how much people work. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that social norm ever changes in the United States. I would guess it's becoming less and less, though it also is concerning divorce rates are going up and up. But as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments because it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.